Hello and good evening, everyone. My name is Shivam. Welcome to Delta Divergence webinar. This is a webinar on the Delta Divergence. If you have attended the webinar on advanced order flow, all those who are paid subscribers, we have shared the link with you guys, all those who have messaged us. So there we have talked about the divergence and why it is important because it's a really important concept because most of the time whenever there is a divergence, okay, especially the way we have taught you, you will find that market reversing or slowing down from such levels. Okay, so under ODX we have created the delta divergence indicator, and this indicator has a lot of flexibility where you can do quite a few things. And it's a beta version, so we will have another version in few days as well. So, but I thought to launch it today itself, so you guys can take advantage in the market. All right. So this is the delta divergence. Wherever there is a divergence, it highlights it, and this is not all divergences which are there. So there are some conditions based on that. It highlights. You can see that it highlighted here, and then market reverse from here. It highlighted here, and the market reverse from here. Okay. It can be used in a multiple ways where you can add the profiles, ODX profiles. You can add the imbalances to this, and you can also check different kind of divergences based on the either the delta or the volume. Okay. Now, first thing you have to do is that you need to you need to run the updater, which is ODX updater. Once you run this updater, you will find it will download the delta divergence and imbalance. It will download all the new indicators which are there. Okay, we have done some changes on the imbalance as well, so it will download imbalance as well. Once this is done, you restart the Quantower. Okay, so once you restart the Quantower, then those indicators will work. Okay, now what does this divergence do is whenever there is you guys must have known that how to check the divergence, right? It is very simple. When the candles are red and the delta is green, that means there is a divergence. Or if the candle is you can see green and the delta is red, there are divergences, right? But if I go to the setting, there's a method, or there's a mode to select. So you can select the ODX mode, which will be the default mode, and there's an option to select all as well. So when you select the all, it will show all the divergences which are there. So let this load. So you can see now you have all the divergences, but as you know that all divergences are not required basically, right? You have to select your ODX mode, but in case of all divergences, you have the option to filter. Let's say I want the divergences where the volumes are above 500 lots. Okay, so at least 500 lots are traded. So you can see that it minimizes the divergences further. Okay, but then if you select ODX as a mode, it will highlight the divergences which are important. Okay, so you can not only just filter by the volume. Okay, at the moment I have kept here 1500. You can see it is highlighting these divergences. Now, one thing to know here is divergence is not where market is definitely going to reverse. It also slows down the market. So here you can see there's a divergence here, and this is today's market only, and the market later on got slowed. I always told you that never keep a SL based on the divergence, high or low. Here, if you have kept a low SL based on the high of it, it will take your SL. Generally, the divergences tells you that the market is going to most probably reverse. Now, how you can confirm this with other things as well? There are a lot of ways to confirm it. One way to confirm it, look at the options data. So I will just have here options data as well. And let me just show you. Let me first correct this. I will remove few of the things. Okay, this is not required. And let this stick to the right. And the other one, I don't want to stick to the right. So, okay. So at the moment, I will not enable the options table. Let us just look at this data. All right, now see here. So we got a divergence confirmation around here. Okay, now you don't go and immediately trade the divergences. Okay, it is just a it's a way to understand that okay, market is being slow down, and there are liquidities present which is trying to absorb the bias. So it is a just understand divergence only this way, that when this happens, it is nothing but tells you that the market is maybe going to slow down, reversal from here. Okay, so it can slow down also, but it is not necessary that this candle, even though shows you slow down, but that does not mean that it cannot go above this candle. It can go further few points. So there is some criteria you can put, let's say 70 points, 100 points, whatever, it's up to you. But as a because obviously as a trader, I have to be more clear. What I prefer to check is, once I see a slowdown, okay, in the market, that means when I see a divergence, I can check the ODX profile to confirm. Now let's say when I click on this particular candle, which is 10, and you can see it's 10. I don't see a 10 crore value. What I can do is I can prefer, whenever there is this selling on the call side of 10 crore. So I can just, any red candle I will check. So red candle almost 9.365 crore, 9.36 crore here, 6.8 crore. Okay. Then here 2.3. Then here, now we got a 10 crore above value. So 11.22 crore. And then you can see the market is reversing from here. Now, because as I said always, that you have to be either buyer and seller both if you want to win in today's market. You cannot be just a seller, you cannot be just a buyer. If you are a buyer, still you are a profitable. If you are a seller, still you are a profitable. Okay. Now let us see this with the options. So I know that from this candle, so I'll just highlight it. Okay. So we are mostly interested on this candle. We have some confirmation here as well, and we have this candle that shows there that there's a decent selling in the options. Okay. So what I will do is I will highlight the options table, and let us see the premium of this particular price. So the premium of this particular strike, 24,500, is trading around 122. Okay. Let's say I go and sell. I can buy also. Let's say I'm a buyer and seller. We'll look at the probabilities. As a buyer, you have to define certain range that you will target. So you cannot hold your position for so long. Okay. So let's say it can be candle to candle. So you are taking a candle based on this candle. Let's say you're targeting based on this candle, or say certain points. Let's say 15 to 20 points in option. Okay. So you can see when it is, let's say I'm a buyer first. Let's look at the buyer scenario, because it's easy to understand. So 119 rupees is what I'm paying when the candle closed. Okay. And I'm buying a put. And let's say if I click on the low, you see 151. So you obviously made a decent points here. I'm not saying you will get 151. The reason I clicked here is to tell you that you made 15 to 20 points. Okay. You made more than that, but I'm just saying that our goal was just 15 to 20 points. So it's 151. So it's almost 30 points. You made 30 points. So you are getting, let's say 15 to 20 points. That's it. Let's say you are a seller. So you sold this particular call, which is 122, and which is more favorable. I would prefer to sell a call. Okay. So let's say I'm selling a call here. Now I sold a call which is 122, and you see by the end of the market it's 81. If I have to look at here, it went up to 77. Okay. So in both scenarios, you can see that I'm making decent money here. So this is a confirmation. I confirmed it with the options. I confirmed it with the futures. So divergence gives you a much better idea, because if you personally ask me, reversals are much better and much clearer when you go with the futures data. And once you confirm it with the options, you have a much better game to trade. Okay. So this was the one. And here you can see that I have another, this was the previous day. So we got a one divergence here. We got a one more divergence here. Okay. But this divergence is comparatively better than this divergence. Okay. So I'll tell you another method as well to find out. Later on, we will have, in few days, we will have this on the indicator itself. But because I have to give you, I have not added yet. Tomorrow, maybe we will add it. But I'll give you the concept here. So let's say I am targeting the delta, which is where the divergence is more than 500. So I'll go to time histogram, and I will remove all the colors. I don't want any other. I just want, whenever the delta is 500, okay, to highlight it. And whenever the negative delta also 500 to be highlighted. Okay. So now check here. Now you see, I got one signal here, but the delta is not 500. I got another signal here, but the delta is more than 500. So this is, I'm not saying that this is a bad divergence. This is also a good divergence, because if you go and check the volume, the volumes are quite good. Okay. So the volume is somewhat around 3,000. Okay. So 3,500 almost volume. Here, the volume is less, but you see, delta on the opposite side is really big. Okay. So there was a complete complete absorption. That means all orders got absorbed around here. Okay, so divergence is nothing but it tells you that all buyers are getting absorbed here. And you see how market is reversing from this area. Then you see here as well. So we got another one, okay, and you can see the delta minus 735. Okay, so this tells you that we are looking at a 500 and above delta. Okay, on the on the negative side. So if it's a green one, I want the negative 500, or in absolute terms, it has to be more than 500. Okay, so 600 negative, 700 negative, and you can see market is reversing again from here. Okay, so that is how you look at these data. Okay, then you see one more here, and you see the market is being slowed down. Now, as a buyer, you may think, okay, I there was some points to capture, that's it. But as a seller, you can see you could have been in holding this particular all day, and you can be profitable, right? So that is why it is important. Okay, you can check further. Okay, now you can see you got one here, but I personally prefer not to trade the first one. But if you have some further criteria, you can add. I'm not saying that first one is not tradable. I personally do not like much. Then we have one here, but there is no 500 delta. We have one here, there is no 500 delta. We have one here, there is no 500 delta. We have one here, which is above 500 delta. See here. So this is 500. So see how the market reversed from here, right? So I'm not saying that all divergences are going to work if there is even 500. So like for example, there was no 500 here, but see the market was still good. Okay, but it's just that you have to correct it with either the futures delta. You need to confirm it with the options, whatever you're getting, whatever you're checking. You see, we don't look at the first. We look at the from the second candle. So we got a divergence here, and you see the market going down from, right, 189 points, quite a decent. Okay, and you were still holding. If you are still holding on the as a seller also, as I said that nowadays, because this is not a straddle, right? You don't have to be on the trade for all the time. You can just take a trade, and if you have made a decent point, exit the trade, right? If you are keeping, let's say you took a trade, you are selling a call which is around 100 rupees. Okay, your target is, let's say you exit at 150, or you target at least 55 points. Okay, so that means when the call is trading around 45 points, you exit, right? We see one more here. Now you may see market going up, but you see the market is very slow. Market is not going much because the absorption, the absorption of the buy quantity tells us that the market is going to slow down. That is what the divergence does, right? You see, there was a divergence here, and the market then, right? So many. You got a trade here again, and remember, once you know that there are big deltas coming, you know that now this is not going to work. So so this is something that I'm not teaching, but you need to understand that if the market is falling from a lot and there's only one delta positive side, then you need to understand there has to be multiple. Or if the market is like this and you see a big delta coming, okay, then you need to understand that this divergence now doesn't make sense. It was good until here, and from here it doesn't make sense. Okay, see there is a divergence again and the market is going down. Okay, so there are so many examples of this, right? So many examples of this. So in the obviously in the later on in the this is the beta mode. So we will have a new delta divergence in 3-4 days. Okay, at the moment you can update or download this and use this one, but in few days we will have another one which will give you alert, and which will also give you on delta criteria as well. So you can filter out the delta here itself. Okay, we have not added because we wanted to give you, otherwise you have to wait for 3-4 days more. But at the moment we wanted to give you so you can take advantage of in the market. Okay, so I hope you understand that there are multi ways to look at this. Okay, now what also you can do is maybe you can look at the imbalances. Let's say you added the imbalances, okay, ODX imbalances, or you're just looking at the order flow. Okay, and then you got another signal there as well. So you can make a strategy based on that. So I hope this is clear. It was a very short webinar to tell you. And now just I want to add one more thing, that you can add multiple criteria. So I have let's say I have this one here. I can select the colors. Okay. Now if I want to add one more, okay, let's say if I duplicate this, okay, and I duplicate the delta divergence. Now what I am doing here is I am interested in a normal one, okay, which will highlight like this. And I'm also interested with a bigger volume, okay, which has a bigger volume. So let's say if I make this as a, let's say, blue color, and this one I will let me make this as a orange. Okay, So this will help me tell you a better divergence, and it will also tell you other divergences as well. So for example, this is a normal divergence, but this is a divergence with a volume criteria, right? Right. You see, we got a bigger divergences and both. You see, we got a with a volume one, and we got a normal one as well. So you can decide the color. Just make sure that it is sorted. That means the first one should be with the lower criteria. Like that means there's no like for example, if you are highlighting with bigger volume, let's say the first one you want to highlight with 1,000 volume, okay, and you have one more divergence which you want to highlight with a 3,000 volume. Okay, I'm just giving a rough example. Then make sure that you don't have 3,001 on the above side. Okay, that means the first one should be the lower one. Okay, first one should be, I think, with the higher one. You just check it once. Okay, because otherwise it will repaint the color. So you just check that one. Okay. All right. So this is it about the today's webinar. It's a very short webinar on the divergence and how the divergence helps the market, to helps a trader to understand that the market is going to slow down and most probably going to reverse. We saw so many examples working here. You see, so many examples. The n number of examples. You see, we were only interested in this because the delta is big here. These are not really much important. It could be important. It also tells you the market is going to slow down, but I want to go with a bigger one. Why? Because there's already big selling going on. You see, what I can do is I can apply cumulative delta. In case you do not understand this way, I can apply a cumulative delta here. Normal cumulative delta, where is it? This one. And we know that the market is falling from long. Okay. And if somebody is trying to stop, I want a little more values to come in. So you can see that because there was a bigger delta here, and later on the market actually turned from here, right? This is what we are seeing here. Here you can see that it's further going down again. Okay. The reason for that is because the deltas are small comparatively. Here the delta is big. Okay. So again, okay, so you can see so many examples. Okay, I hope this was clear. And again, this is also a profitable trade if you are a seller. Okay, if you are a seller, this is also a profitable trade. Remember that. Okay, so I hope this was clear. And if you have any further questions, you can ask. Those who have joined late, just remember to check this indicator. You need to type ODX updater and update it and restart the Quantower. Make sure you restart the Quantower. It will download the files and then you will get it. And you will get the next version in 3-4 days where you will have the delta and alert criteria as well. Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you everyone for joining.